What did they do with that money? A lot of those governments didn't pay those arrears of salaries. So many states are still owing arrears of salaries, and a lot of things are happening. Monies were misappropriated for other purposes that were not the right purpose for which they were meant for. I don't think that this money they're trying to borrow would be properly appropriated for the purpose for which it is meant. It is the same way like those other ones have gone, the bailouts of the past. That's how they're going to misappropriate this money and misdirect it. I think knowing who the players are, I don't think the purpose for which they're claiming that this money will be used for would be actually used for it.
So if you say that, and then we're looking at how possibly we get to borrow this money and looking at the repayment plan, because that's for many economists is even more important, would you say that the structures that the government has in place right now will be able to bring about that sustainable repayment plan that a lot of economists are looking at?
Well, looking at the structures that have been placed on ground, one would be tempted to believe that the repayment plan and all the structures set in place would be enough, good enough for the economy. But like I said, the same looters who have looted this nation from 20 years back are the same players today. As far as we are concerned, we have not seen any difference between the people who are in government in PDP and the people that are in government in APC today. It is the same old politicians that have raped and looted this economy. They can only come and say glowing words, but they can never keep to what they have said. We have seen it. We've not gone far. I can give you one little example. The present minister of power, you know, housing and all the powerful ministries that he's been given to, before he was made the minister, when he was governor of Lagos State, said any responsible government should be able to put the power situation in order in just 6 months. Today it is 2 years. He has been saddled that responsibility. They have done nothing. The power situation has gone from bad to worse. How do you expect ordinary Nigerians to believe that what they're telling us, the structures they have put in place for the repayment of these loans, will be followed? I don't believe they'll follow it. When they talk, look at their antecedents. You would know that their antecedents have not performed in accordance with what they have said. It has always been in the breach, not in the following, not in implementation.
But Honorable, I mean, so, if I could jump in there, but
yes,
you know, you talk like you're not a politician. You're also a politician in this country. So are you not going to say the same thing to the people if you're going to canvass for their votes, and when you get in there, you'll do the same thing? Possibly. That's what a lot of people will believe, because politicians will be politicians.
Let me tell you, we are a new breed of politicians without greed. That is why we registered the Young Progressive Party. It's a party that is looking at young people that are going to be a new breed of politicians without greed. We are people who believe in social democratic principles. And if you look at the things which we have put in place for our party, the kind of generation of people we want to raise, or politicians want to raise, is completely different from this kind of politicians that have been in place. We are completely different from them because we are based on, we believe in social democratic principles, and that is what we hold on to. We are progressives. We are not this kind of politicians that have been in place in this country.
What kind of social democratic principles are those? Would you mind telling us what exactly those are?
Yes, yes. See, we want to put a kind of government that whatever projects the government seeks to implement or put in place will be generated by the various communities. We would not sit back there in the various government houses or here in Abuja and decide, oh, this community needs to be given this or that. We would, the communities would meet and decide, all right, the most pressing need which we have is so and so, maybe say it's roads. And the government will take it up and ensure that that is implemented. So that is the kind of, it's a community-based kind of governance that we want to put in place. And with all due respect, we want to do it in such a manner that it takes along the people. The people will not just feel carried along, but they will know they are being carried along, because in the decision-making of the government, budgets will not be things that will be done haphazardly or in a haste. It is something that will be done way ahead of time, before it is even before the time is due. And then the processes or manners in which it will be funded would have already clearly been identified even before the budget is brought to the National Assembly or to the State Assembly, whatever the case may be.
But
So
I'm sorry, but isn't that what is currently happening now, as you just explained? That is currently happening.
I don't think so. I don't think so. The people are not carried along in the governance of this nation, and budgets are not done on time. Do you know when, you can remember when they passed this budget? Budgets ought to be passed even before even you get to the year in which you want to implement that budget.
So what would you say about the, how would you interpret or tell us more about your thoughts on the performance of the 2017 budget?
I don't think the 2017 budget has performed. The performance is really low, and that is predicated on the fact that it is now in October that the government is thinking of borrowing money to fund the infrastructure projects that are captured in that budget. That I think that is the basic thing that the people will benefit more from, infrastructure. But in October, you want to now borrow money to capture that? The performance is completely, to my mind, is very low. Very, very low.
All right, we'll go to break, but when we return, we'll just have a couple of more issues to raise with you about, you say, your new politician, a new breed without greed. You say you're coming up with something different, and you think that the people will be ready for that. You talk about your kind of politics, a new brand, which is different from what is seen today. We'd like you to tell us a lot more about some of those when we return in just a moment. Don't go away.